my name is Mackenzie, and today I'm going to show you how to make these super fun paper plate dinosaurs. I'm going to show you how to make 3 kinds, just like that. So all you're going to need is some paint brushes. For mine, I only have a few, so I have a bowl and some paper towels to help clean in between each paint color. Then I have some scissors. Make sure you ask mom and dad what scissors they want you to use because we always want you to be safe when you're playing with us. You're going to need some markers, some construction paper. Today I'm going to be using yellow, green, and orange. You're going to be needing some paper plates, some eyes, and some paints. And lastly, you're going to be needing some glue. Alright, so to get started, I'm going to play some music so you can listen to some music while we're playing with some art. Alright, so the first one that we're going to make today, guys, is we're going to make this one. So, we are going to grab a paper plate. And mine kind of stick together, so sometimes I have to kind of crunch the paper plates apart. Just like that. And there we go. Set that aside. I'm going to be using 1 paper plate for my paints, just so I don't have to dip into my paints and get my paintbrushes kind of full of paint. So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to point you down so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to cut this in half. And make sure you save the other half for another dinosaur that we're going to be doing. We're going to put our scissors to the side now. And so we have this, just like that. And then so we're going to need our scissors again. And then we're going to cut the curved piece of our plate off. So it should look like that. See how we just cut off the little edge piece? I'm going to set that aside. Now I'm going to set my scissors aside. I'm going to take some of my green washable paint. I have 2 kinds of paint today. I have this washable paint, and then I have just these little paint pots that we're going to be using. I'm going to get just a little bit of green. Take my paintbrush. Take a paper towel. Wipe it off just a little bit. Now, if you are using your parents' table, you may want to ask if they want you to lay down like a garbage bag, or they want you to paint on another plate, or if they want you to lay a towel down. The table that I'm painting on is my crafting table, so I can get just a little bit of paint on it, and my paint is washable today, so it'll all come off when I'm all done. We're just gonna get all of our paper plate and make it green. Get all of those little nooks and crannies. And then what I like to do, so it kind of looks like even, is I like to take my brush over the top once I have everything painted and just go over it in one even stroke. I've got just a little bit where my finger was. Take that. And then it should look like this. So now I'm going to set that to the side, and we are going to pick up our green construction paper. And then I'm going to take my green color, my green marker, and I am going to make some legs and a tail and a head. So first I'm going to start with my legs. We get a little bit closer so you can see me. And we're just going to come down. We're going to make 2 lines. And we're going to curve them together. We're going to do the same thing for the other leg. Curve them together. Mine is about almost 3, about 2 of my fingers. So you can measure it however you want. You do want them to be a little wide. See how mine are kind of wide? Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to make our head. So for our head, we're going to start on a flat side of the paper. And then I'm going to do his chin first. So I'm going to come up like this. Make his chin. I'm going to come up, make his nose, make his forehead. And kind of curve down. And make the rest of his neck. It should look like that. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make his tail. So we need kind of a long tail. So I'm going to start on a flat edge and just make a really long triangle. Like that. So now we are going to cut this out. There's our tail. And then for these ones, sometimes it's a little bit easier if you cut them away from the big paper. Like I did here. And then I'm going to follow my lines. Just like that. And here's your front leg and here's your back leg. Alright, so we're going to set those to the side. The last thing that we're going to do for our cutting is we are going to cut out the head. I'm just going to go back through and kind of curve out parts of my dinosaur head that I missed. There's your dinosaur head. So I'm going to set this stuff to the side. And then our dinosaur should be dry. If you don't want to use paints, you can totally just use your markers. That's totally fine. I just decided to use paints today. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue my dinosaur head onto my dinosaur body. So I'm just going to take some glue and put it down here. You see where it's kind of purple? That's where I put my glue. And then I'm going to put it on this side of his body. Just like that, and press. You can use whatever kind of glue you want for this. I find it's a little bit easier with the stick glue because it dries faster. But if you don't have stick glue, you can just use your regular glue. That's totally okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue again and I'm going to glue on my tail. And I'm going to glue it at the very bottom of my curve. Just like that. Now I'm going to take my legs and I'm going to glue my legs on. And make sure that you are gluing on the underside of your plate. So the part that you didn't color in. And there. And now we're going to do some details on our dinosaur. So we're going to take our paper plate again. See how I still have some green on there? I'm going to take my paint pot. Open it up. I'll wash my brush up just a little bit. Take my paper towel and wipe it off. I'm going to take just a little bit of my yellow. Just like that, and then we're going to mix them together. It's going to make this pretty light green color. So now all we're going to do is we're going to take the very top of our paintbrush. I'm going to take this extra off. We're going to take the top of our paintbrush just like that and get some paint on it. And then we're just going to put spots all over our dinosaur. Right now we're just going to focus on the body. And you'll see that they kind of blend in. That's what we want it to look like. We're going to take it and we're going to go up his head. And we're going to take it and go down his tail as well. I'm going to put a few more spots on my dinosaur's body. And there you go. And then once these dry, these will show up a little bit better, like how they did on my guy. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a really skinny brush, or a brush that kind of has a rounded edge, like this one. And we're going to take some white. We are going to make our dinosaur's toes. So we're going to start a little ways up and just slide down. So toes like that. I'm going to dip into my white a little bit again. Hold down my foot. And just drag your paint. Just like that. So now it looks like that. So the last two steps that we're going to do. We are going to draw a smiley face on our happy dinosaur. So I just took a black marker and just drew a little curve. And then our final step for this dinosaur is the eyes. So I'm just going to take one eye and my glue stick. And I'm just going to get some glue on there. And then put it down. There is our first dinosaur. So cool, guys. I'm going to set him to the side so he can dry. So, next, we are going to be making this cool little guy. So, I'm taking just the other half of that paper plate that I already have cut out. Take my scissors, and I'm going to cut the curved part off again. Set that to the side, set those to the side. It should look like that. And I am going to wash my brushes. Take my paper towel, dry it off. And then I am going to take some orange, just like that. Now I'm going to paint this one orange. Make sure to get all of those white spots. Cover them all up. We're going to set this to the side. We're going to take our orange construction paper and I'm going to cut out some triangles. So I'm going to cut out 2 small triangles, 2 medium triangles, and 1 large triangle. There's my small size. And I am just cutting diagonals up into my paper. There's another one of my small ones. Now I'm going to make my medium size ones. About this big. I'm going to make one really big one. I'm going to set those to the side. We're going to grab our marker and we're going to make its face. So to make the face, we are going to make 2 lines. Actually, I'm going to use my orange marker instead of my black marker. So that way you can't see the lines as well. So we're going to take our orange marker. We're going to make 2 lines. Just like that. And you see them? And then we're going to go on the bottom and we're going to make his chin. And he's going to have a really long, kind of flat face. Just like that. And then we're going to make his feet. So same thing. We're going to make 2 lines. They're kind of skinny. Like, not even my pinky will fit in between them. So we're going to make 4 lines just like that. And then we're going to curve around, go flat, and go back up. Just like those. Now we're going to grab our scissors again. We are just going to cut these out. I'm going to cut mine away from the big paper just because I think it's a little bit easier to cut. I'm not trying to fiddle with a whole big piece of paper. There's our dinosaur head. And I cut these away from the big piece of paper too, I think. There's one of his feet. There is the other one of his feet. So the last thing that we're going to cut out is just his tail. So just like the last dinosaur we made, we're going to make kind of a long triangle for his tail. Sorry guys, my music stopped playing. There it goes. So now I have my tail. It should look something like this. And we're going to take our paper plate. Mine's curling a little bit, so I'm just going to take it and kind of fold the corners inward. Just like that, and just make it a little bit flatter. So it'll look like that. And then when I'm doing this, I am going to put the part that has the writing on it on the bottom. So that way we don't see it as much. So I'm going to take my glue. Glue on the very bottom. Here's my purple glue stick. Be just like that. Now we're going to do the same thing with the feet. We are going to grab our glue stick. Put it on the side that doesn't have any writing. And just like that. It has little tiny feet. Or glue his last foot on. Just like that. It should look just like that. He is still curling just a little bit. So now I'm going to take his tail, a really long triangle. I'm going to put some glue on the bottom of it. There we go. His tail did not want to stick on. We're going to put his tail right at the bottom, just like here. So now it is time for our other triangles. And I'm going to cut this one just a little bit because I made it just a little bit too big. And just a little too wide. I just cut it just a little bit. So these ones we are actually going to put on the front side of our dinosaur. We're going to take this, put some glue on the bottom, then we're going to take our big one and glue it right on top. You see how I glued it on the front side instead of the back side? Just like that. And then we're going to take our two medium ones and we're going to put those on either side. And then I think that these are just, that this one is a little bit too wide, so I'm just going to cut it down a little bit. Just to make sure that we have room for all of our triangles. We're going to kind of overlap them just a little bit. See how they kind of touch right here? And that's how we're going to glue them on. We're going to go to this other side. We're going to do this one on the other side. And then we are going to take our small triangles, put some glue on those ones, and then glue it to your dinosaur. And it should look just like that. Looks so cool, huh, guys? So cool. Okay, so now we are going to take our black marker once again, and we are just going to make a little smiley face on this guy. Just like that. Then we're going to take another eye. And some more glue. Just like that. We are going to glue our eye on. Just like that. I'm actually going to scoot his eye over just a little bit. But just a little bit higher. So it looks a little funny. And there he is. So the last step for this guy is we're going to mix some yellow into our orange. We're going to mix those together. I'm actually going to add a bit more yellow into this one. So here's what I'll do. Because this is actually the color for our next dinosaur too. There we go. That should be about the color. You guys see this color? That's about what your color should look like. Then we're going to take the top of it. Get some on the top. We're just going to put spots on our dinosaur. And then when he dries, we'll have these really cool spots. There is our second dinosaur done. So cool. Alright, so we're going to set him to the side. We are going to grab another paper plate. And we're going to cut it in half. And this one, we need our body. We're going to be making this one. So we're going to need our body a little bit smaller. So see how mine has kind of a ridge right here? You kind of see that? You can see it just a little bit. That's what we're going to cut. So it's just a little bit inside the curve. But it's going to make it so his body isn't too big for his head and arms. So it should look like that. And what we're going to do is the orange color that I created last time, this orangey color, is what we're going to paint on this dinosaur. So remember, this paint color was made by mixing a little bit of yellow in with the orange. My brush is a little too wet. So I'm going to take a paper towel, dry it off. There we go. I'm going to put just a little bit of that really yellow one over the top of mine. I think it makes it kind of cool. So just like that. And it's okay if it starts to curve. Once it dries, we can fix it. I'm going to kind of wipe this down a little bit. I just have a dry paper towel, so that's why it's not all the way coming off. I'm just going to dip it in a little bit of my water. Alright, so now what we are going to take our yellow construction paper and a yellow marker. We are going to make his arms, leg, and his head. So the easiest part of this one is his tail. So it's almost the same thing as all of our other dinosaurs. It's just a really, really long, skinny, skinny triangle. Like this. Right here. So then we're going to make his feet. His feet are really long and skinny. And then his feet, point you down a little bit and come a little bit closer to the camera. We're going to make kind of like a W with his feet. Like that. Here we just made a little W. Like that. And then his arms are also really skinny. So we're just going to make two really skinny lines. The bottom one is going to be curved a little bit. And we're going to make his thumb and his really long other finger. Because this guy only has 2 fingers. Just like that. Okay. So now his head is a little tricky. So what we're going to do is we are going to make 2 slanted lines. Just like that. And then over here, we're going to kind of come up just a little bit away. I came up here. See how it's just a little bit away from his neck? And I'm going to make his horn. You see his horn? And then I'll kind of curve out to make his head. Curve back in. You kind of see? I'll flip it. See how it kind of comes up to his horn? And then this part we're just going to make his mouth. It's a pretty long mouth. And then we're going to connect it to the top part of his horn. And it looks like that. Now we're just going to cut these out. I'm going to cut this away from the paper because I think it's just a little bit easier. And follow the line that you made. And there's his head. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out our arms, legs, and arm, leg, and tail. So just follow your cut. Be really careful because these ones are kind of hard to cut. Just like that. And then we are going to take our leg. His leg looks like that. Set that to the side. We're going to cut out his tail. Go. Set this to the side. I'm going to set my extra construction paper to the side. And there's his tail. So now this is dry. See how it's just curving just a little bit? I'm going to take it again and just roll out these edges. And sometimes if you roll it on your table, it may help a little bit. There, now it's a little bit flatter. So now what we're going to do is this one is going to be facing up like this. We're going to tape our head to the top just like that. We're going to put some glue down. Tape it to the top, or glue it to the top, excuse me. Should look like that. And we're going to take our arm, this one, we're going to put some glue on it. And we are going to glue it kind of in the middle of his body. And then on the back, I have my arm connecting to my head. Just like that. And then we are going to do his leg. And down to the bottom, and tape it and glue it right there. So thus far, it looks like this. And then we are going to glue his tail on. And his tail connects with his leg, like that. We're going to angle it just a little bit, so it should look like that. Now, we are going to grab our eyes. And my eyes. Take some glue. Glue my eyes onto my dinosaur. Kind of in the middle of his head. Like right there. And then we are going to make a little smile. Just like that. Can you see his little smile? And the last thing for this dinosaur is we're going to take some white paint. We are going to take our skinny brush. We're going to dip it into our white paint. We're going to start at the top of his head and just make some dots. We're going to make some dots along his tail. Like that. And then finally, we are going to paint his horn white. And there you go. Now you have 3 super awesome dinosaurs to play with. Tilt you up. They have some super awesome dinosaurs to play with. Make sure if that you make this, you take some pictures and drop it in the comments below. I hope you guys had so much fun making these dinosaurs, and we hope to see you later today. Bye, guys!